Chapter 5 A New Life. A few months later, I was coming home from the castle after watching Link all day in the practice yards with his legion. He had spent the day teaching sword techniques to the people of his legion. I spent most of the day watching him until I started feeling a little sick. I had moved into the garden to sit down and rest when Zelda came to see me. "You do not look well, my friend. Are you okay?" Zelda said, looking worried. "I feel a little sick in the stomach, and I feel real tired," I said as I held my stomach and tried to get up. "Come, my friend, I will take you to the healer." Zelda took my hand and led me towards the healer's chambers. When we got there, the healer had me lie on a table while she looked me over. After some time, she found out why I was not well. She told me I was pregnant. Zelda looked at me with shock as I was hit with joy. A rush of happiness ran through me. I looked at Zelda, and then I hugged her. "Oh, goddesses, congratulations!" "Oh, Link will be so happy." Zelda smiled at me as we hugged, and I felt warm inside. "I must go tell father." Then Zelda took off to fetch the king. I turned my attention back to the healer. "How far along am I?" asked. "About 2 months," the healer responded. Then she handed me a small bag with herbs in it. "Here are some herbs to counter the morning sickness and dizziness. Make sure you take it easy. No real heavy activities. Eat and drink a lot and make sure you get enough sleep. And one piece of advice on a personal note. If you and your husband make love a lot while you're pregnant, you'll help make the baby stronger." Just no real heavy love making. Keep it gentle. And come back to see me in 2 weeks. You may now leave. She gestured for me to get up, and I nodded at the healer as I got off the table and headed back to the palace garden. As I waited for Princess Zelda and her father, I put my hand on my belly and begun to think to myself, "Oh, goddesses, I'm going to be mother! My firstborn, Link's child." A tear started to run down my cheek. He gave me this miracle, blessed us with a baby. I love him so much. Then tears of happiness started to stream down my face. I had a miracle growing inside me. Link and I made this new life together. We were truly blessed. Then I heard Lily calling to me. "Jenna, I heard the news. Congratulations, I'm so happy for you. Link will be so happy when you tell him." "How are you going to tell him?" Lily's grin nearly split her Fairies are balls of light in the Zelda franchise. Ugh. I looked at Lily, and her pink aura seemed to glow brighter. I thought of lighting some candles, cooking a meal to create a romantic setting, and telling him over dinner. Lily flew in a circle. "That's a great idea. I cannot wait to see the look on his face," Lily said as she chuckled at the thought of Link's expression after he was told. I sat and wondered how Link would take it, but I knew he always wanted a child. I hoped the baby would be a boy, since that is what Link wanted. "Jenna, my daughter, I heard about thy pregnancy." Just then the king walked into the palace garden with Princess Zelda right behind him. "The princess has just told me about thy new miracle." I ran over to him and gave the king a hug. The king looked into his eyes. His eyes were as gentle as ever. "Congratulations, my daughter. Have thou told Link yet?" I nodded no, but that I was going to tell him over dinner. "When you and Link have thy firstborn, I will have everyone in Hyrule attend to celebrate thy new life. A naming ceremony will also be held. It will be a blessed event." Then the king's smile seemed to glow.
You keep using the word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
"I am going to be a grandfather," the king said as smiled at me. His smile always warmed my soul. I was glad he was like a father to me, always gentle and caring. Now that I was to have a baby, it brought us even closer. We chit-chatted a little longer until the dizziness started to take hold. Then the king saw me to the gate and I headed for home. When I reached home, I went straight to bathe. After I undressed, I looked down at my bare stomach. I put my hand gently on my belly and rubbed up and down. There was a life growing inside me, a miracle Link had gave me. The baby was going to be beautiful. Then I got into the tub and slid down into the water. I soaked my sore ankles and legs a while. Then I took the wash rag and cleaned up. After I washed up, I got out and dried off. I went to the wardrobe closet and selected a low-cut pink dress with long sleeves and the Triforce symbol over my right breast. A pink leathery lace ran underneath my breasts, and a crisscross pattern held the back together. I pulled my hair into a bun and went downstairs. I lit the candles around the room and 2 on the table. Then I went to prepare dinner. I made cooked pork in a cream sauce with potatoes and cabbage. As I made the final preparations, I heard a horse come plodding up to the stable. I finished setting the table and put the food on the table. I took my apron off and hurried to the door to greet Link. As he stepped in the door, his eyes looked me up and down. "You look ravishing, my love. I thought about you all day long." Then he reached over, kissed me on the lips, took my hand and led me into the house. Once inside, he noticed the candles and the food on the table. "Honeys, what's with the candles and the food settings?" I looked into his dark blue eyes and smiled. "I just wanted to surprise you with a romantic dinner after you worked hard all day," I said sweetly. His smile widened as he took me into his arms. "It's just lovely, my sweet. Thank you, my love." He kissed me again, then gestured for me to sit at the table. He pushed in my chair before seating himself. After we served ourselves, I looked up from my food at him. "So, honey, how was your day?" After he swallowed a bite of food, he answered, "The king and I had a discussion about updating defensive moves among the army. So I spent the entire day teaching new sword techniques and defensive strategies among the men." I cocked my head at Link. "Does the king think a war is brewing?" I asked. "No, but he wants to be prepared in the event that one does and the men need to be sent in." "Link, honey, I did watch you today until I started not to feel well," I said as I put my fork down. Link's eyes grew a worried look in them. "How do you feel now, sweetheart?" he asked, concerned. "I feel much better now. I went to see the castle's healer." Then there was a long pause before Link broke the silence. "Are you okay, my love?" Link questioned. "Link, my love, I have something to tell you." I looked into his eyes. Just then, Lily and Navi flew into the room. Lily flew up to my ear. "Jen, did you tell him yet?" "Tell him what?" Navi chimed in. "Link, my love, we are going to have a baby," I finally said. The next thing I heard was a clank of silverware hitting his plate. His eyes grew as big as saucers as he looked at me. "You mean I'm going to be a father?" he said as a look of pure shock came across his face. I nodded yes.
"Oh, Jen, congratulations. I had no idea you were pregnant," Navi added.
Link then leapt out of his chair and ran over to me, lifted me up and took me into his arms. He stared deeply into my eyes and then kissed me passionately. "I love you, Jen. I cannot believe I'm going to be a father." "Are you really sure it's Jen you love?" Excitement filled Link's eyes. Then he placed a hand on my belly. "How far along are you?" Link asked with excitement. "The healer said I was 2 months along," I replied. "I still cannot believe it. I'm going to be a daddy," Link added. Link and I held each other for a long time. We were happy that we were going to have a baby. Excitement filled us both. I laid my head against Link's chest out in the corner of my eye and saw Lily and Navi smiling in a way of saying, "Aw, isn't that beautiful?" I felt a rush of happiness run through me. I knew now that I was going to be complete. I had Link now, and I was going to have his baby. Link was now going to have that child he always wanted. We were truly blessed. The next few days were not easy. The morning sickness hit when I got up in the morning, and the dizziness would hit by mid-afternoon. With Link's duties at the castle, he was not able to remain at home with me like he wanted to, but he left Navi and Lily to watch over me. Link did worry about me while he was away, but he knew that Lily and Navi would be able to take care of me. It was the hottest part of the summer. About midday, some of the villagers from Kakario village would gather into Lake Hylia. Inside the Lost Woods, it was a little cooler. However, sometimes the humidity would make going outside unbearable. "And the fucking monsters! That would make you not want to go outside! Moron!" From time to time, I got to the castle to visit Princess Zelda or watch Link in the practice yards, but during the days it was too hot, I would remain home. And on the days Link stayed home, we ourselves would go to Lake Hylia to cool off. After the hot months in early fall, Link and I talked about taking our relationship beyond our vows. We wanted to bond ourselves together further than our marriage had. We had found out that there was a monastery just beyond Gerudo Valley where the monks there performed pagan bonding ceremonies. These rituals were performed to bond married couples further than their marriage vows. Link and I decided we meant so much to each other that we wanted to do it together. Oh, dear God. So, aside from the weird breeding fetish, one of the most infamous things about this story is next week's chapter. The bonding ceremony. God, I am going to have so much to say about that next week. I hope you're looking forward to it.